Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So like I say in pretty much every video in the beginning of the month, this feels very foreign because I've taken a couple weeks, regrouped a little bit. Thank you again for all the love-ins on the Amberlynn Reid hectic recap with the pointer finger. I still have it right here with the pointer and the whiteboard and everything. I got a lot of requests to do more videos in that format regarding different niche internet topics, and I actually have one planned for later this month, I think, and it's not on fat acceptance, but I kind of want to start branching out from that a little bit, and I think the whiteboard and the hand point and the finger pointer are the gateways that I needed to do that. So I'm probably going to start incorporating more content like that about various different kinds of topics in my content in the future, and I'm really excited about it. So thank you just for the loving on that. We're going to be talking about a situation that happened back in June, July-ish, and it's very reminiscent of another situation that I talked about with Fat Girl Flo and Rosie, and I'll have that linked below. And it's between a creator, primarily I think on TikTok, named Angelica Violet, who I didn't know followed me for a little bit, and then I went to go follow her after I came to know about all of this stuff, and I was like, oh, we're mutuals, how cool. And then another creator named, their name is just S, and they're non-binary. They go by they, them pronouns, and as always, we respect pronouns in this house, okay? And I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the Fat Acceptance creator S's content after giving a rundown with what happened with Angelica. And so this is going to be a reaction, commentary, whatever. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Let's just get into it. But before we get into today's video, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Kitsch. Now, Kitsch is a longtime friend of the channel. I've been working with them for, I think, about a year now. Really, they have really jumped right to the top of some of my favorite hair care products that I use. Even though I got a bob and I have a considerably less hair than the first time I started using Kitsch, my hair still does need to be taken care of, and Kitsch is still my go-to. And if you don't know, Kitsch is a brand that offers hair care products and body care products, and they're all in bar form, which means no bottles or single-use plastics anywhere. The first time I worked with them, I was honestly very skeptical of the whole like bottle-free concept with the bar, because I just wasn't sure how good of a lather I would get from a non-like liquid shampoo. And after I used it, I was like, oh, it's fine. You don't need a bottle, Megan. Because I still very much get a great lather. I have naturally at least wavy, but I think curly hair, and so when I started to actually tend to that, I told Kitsch, and they sent over their rice water protein shampoo and conditioner bars, and these are like my go-to. These are like the only shampoo that I use and the only conditioner that I use. The rice water protein helps strengthen my hair and also improves hair texture, and the texture is something I can notice, like, because even on like wash days where my hair can sometimes feel dry with other products, my hair feels really soft on wash day, but it also feels really clean and moisturized and not weighed down by the conditioner, which I really appreciate. But rice water protein also helps rebalance overly moisturized hair, and it aids in the growth and regeneration of hair. They also sent over this handy dandy shower caddy, which is great for storing all of my Kitsch bar products in my shower. If you want to give Kitsch a whirl for yourself, use the link down below in my description. Use the code HeyLookIt'sMeganAnn for 25% off your first purchase. Kitsch ships internationally and into over 27 countries, and they also have a subscription option for an even bigger discount. And that is the code HeyLookIt'sMeganAnn when you use the link down below in my description to go give Kitsch a whirl for yourself. I really, really recommend their products. I recommend them to everybody. Just home in Michigan, and my mom was like, how do you get your hair to look like that? And I was like, it is my shampoo and conditioner, and they are from Kitsch. And yeah, so I really love Kitsch. Thank you so much to Kitsch for sponsoring today's video, and as always, thank you so much to you guys for continuing to interact with my content so that brands like Kitsch want to keep working with me. All right, now let's get back into the video. So I came to know of this whole situation because Angelica's response came up on my For You page, and so I'm going to first play the video that Angelica was responding to, and then I'm going to play the video that is in the video that Angelica's was responding to, and then we're going to circle back to Angelica's response to the response from the other person, and then yeah, well, then we'll talk about it. I'm just gonna watch these on my phone right now just because it's easier. So yeah.
From now on, I am just going to treat every fat creator who has freshly turned into a weight loss influencer as if they've died. Yesterday, I had to block a mutual who had posted a video that I at first thought was satire. Like, they were talking about their journey from body positivity into fat acceptance as like a delusion that they were holding, that they do in fact have full control over their body and their fatness, and it's their responsibility to lose weight, and everyone else should lose weight too. So like, as far as I'm concerned, she's dead now. I don't care what anyone does with their body. It's when people start dictating to others, especially fat people, what they should be doing with their bodies that I draw the line. And it's a reminder again about why, unless it's fat liberation, it doesn't mean shit.
So that is the video that Angelica was responding to when I first came to know about this whole situation. So I'm going to go and I'm going to now play the video that this creator was responding to from Angelica.
I remember going on my first diet when I was in kindergarten because my doctor told me I was overweight. So from childhood up until I would say my early 20s, I was always on some sort of diet and hated how I looked. At about 18 years old, I had my first outbreak of an autoimmune disorder, and I gained a lot of weight from being on steroids, which led me to finding the body positivity community online. During the lockdown, I started learning a lot about fat acceptance, and I fell into that community. I ballooned up to 270 pounds, thinking that my genetics were what's making me fat. It made me feel so helpless and like I was trapped in this body, and it once again made me feel like I had no control over my body and what it looked like. It made me feel resentful towards anyone that was in a smaller body. After being involved in the fat acceptance movements for a couple of years, I started getting recommended anti-fat acceptance videos on YouTube and started watching them. I had a come to Jesus moment. It made me realize that, yeah, I was fat because of what I was eating and that I wasn't moving. My genetics was not an excuse for being my size. While that does seem kind of mean and a little harsh, it made me realize that I do have control over what I look like and how I feel about myself, which is why at 27, I have decided to learn what a healthy lifestyle is and lose weight. For some reason right now, it feels different than any diet that I've been on. I'm not stressed out and I'm not judging myself. I'm just making small changes in hopes to live the best life that I can. And I hope that you know that you can do the same thing too.
That the first creator was talking about. And before I move on to Angelica's response, I do just want to give my thoughts on these two while I have them in my brain before I lose them, because I will lose them. First off, I think Angelica's video is just super honest and great. She talks a lot about a lot of things that I think a lot of people who have decided to lose weight can relate to. Like, she was talking about how she realized that she could change what she looked like. She could change how she felt for the most part with her weight, and so she decided to do something about it. And that's literally exactly what my thought process was when I decided to have weight loss surgery 6 years ago now. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. 6 years ago. And because I remember I was thinking one night and I was like, Megan, what's like the one thing in your life that's like bothering you the most right now? And can you change it? And it was my weight. And I was like, yeah, you can change that. And it was causing me a lot of health issues. It was causing me just a lot of physical, mental issues. And so I was like, something's got to give. I've tried everything I tried everything up until this point except surgery. And so I decided to go the surgical route. I don't know. She called it a come to Jesus moment, just like a click moment. Like, I just kind of woke up a little bit and I was like, hey, I don't have to feel miserable all the time. I can do something about it. And so I was really happy that she phrased it like that, because I do feel like a lot of people who make the decision to go on a weight loss journey, lose a significant amount of weight, whatever, I think we all kind of have that moment, whatever it is. So I was happy that she talked about that. And I also was really happy that she phrased it in that, like, she's not going crazy, like tracking her food, doing any of that. She's just doing small sustainable steps to help her live the best life possible. And I have done everything, both post-op and before surgery, in terms of going insanely hard, not doing anything at all. And I have found the most success when I am like just making little changes to my meals and stuff like that, because it just becomes a lot less overwhelming. And so I'm happy that she phrased it that way too. And Angelica also, I believe, used to post fat activism, like body positivity, fat acceptance ish content. And so that's why the other creator was like so up at arms. And so I don't know, I just loved the way that Angelica approached this topic. Like, I think it is chill, not putting anybody down at all. And so the reaction that this got from this other creator, S, was very weird to me, but also not surprising. Very like disappointing, but not surprising. I think it's funny whenever whenever these creators go on about how they don't agree with someone losing weight, it's like turning their back on a community. It's like blah, 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 like talking down on people who decide to lose weight who were once in the fat activism community. And then they immediately follow it up with, but I support anybody's right to do whatever they want with their body. Like, you hear what you're saying? Like, first of all, because just to be able to so succinctly contradict yourself in like one sentence is just really funny to me. And so, yeah, I think this got blown way out of proportion, because Angelica's very much just talking about her personal experience and is not projecting that on anybody else. But fat activists do what fat activists do online, and they project it onto themselves. And I should mention too that the original, like the response that Angelica was responding to from S, the caption was, "R.I.P. Angelica, we are about liberation and accessibility, and you've gone and told on yourself." Tombstone emoji. So yeah, so after that response, Angelica responded with this.
Now on, I am just going to treat every fat creator who has freshly turned into a weight loss influencer as if they've died. Yesterday, I had to block a mutual who had posted a video that I at first thought was satire. Like, they were talking about their journey from body positivity into fat acceptance as like a delusion that they were holding.
Thank you for being so respectful when talking about my journey. When I talked about my journey in my video, I was very authentic and very vulnerable. But in case you didn't see that video, I will sum it up, maybe even elaborate, because I don't know why she's thinking it was so negative. In my video, I mentioned that I went on my first diet when I was in kindergarten because I was told I was overweight by my doctor. And then flash forward to about 18 years old, I had an outbreak of my autoimmune disorder. It was my first one. And my autoimmune disorder is called HSP vasculitis. Look it up. It's pretty rare. All of the blood vessels in the bottom half of my legs, the calves, literally exploded. And I had open wounds all the way down from my knees to my feet. I still have scars on my legs to this day. I couldn't even show pictures of it on TikTok because it honestly looks like something that came out of a horror movie. And when that was happening, the doctors could not figure out what was wrong with me for a very long time. So I was on steroids and opioids until everything calmed down. And during that time, I gained a lot of weight. I had stretch marks. I felt literally disgusting because my skin was rotting off of me. And during that time, I learned about the body positivity movement. And during that time, I found a lot of comfort and love in the idea of knowing that I have value no matter what I look like, even if I could not love myself in that moment. And I continued being in that body positivity for quite a long time until I found the fat liberation movement, which a lot of us did on TikTok during the lockdown. And again, I found a lot of comfort and safety in that community for years. I never thought it was like some weird psychosis or delusion. It was reality. But as the years went on, I started to realize I didn't really like this community and how they treated other people. And I don't like how this person is treating me or talking about my story.
It's like a delusion that they were holding, that they do in fact have full control over their body and their fatness, and it's their responsibility to lose weight, and everyone else should lose weight too.
See, the thing is, when you are in the fat acceptance movement, they say things like, your genetic makeup is responsible for why you are fat, or fat people can't control that they are fat, and like diets don't work, and intake outtake that isn't real. So when you are involved in these movements, you start to think, I'm so helpless over what I look like in my health. What my body looks like is already determined. And in reality, it's not. My genetics didn't make me fat. Me, during the lockdown, not moving, not going outside, not seeing any friends, eating boxes of pasta by myself, only drinking Diet Dr. Pepper is why I was fat. Never in that video did I say, well, it's my responsibility to lose the fatness. I came to the conclusion that my life is in my control, whether that is my career, my appearance, how much I weigh, my friends, what I'm doing. So guess what? I wanted to work on my health, especially my mental health, because at that time I literally wanted to unalive myself because of all the isolation during the lockdown. My mental health was so bad. So I started seeing a psychiatrist. I got prescribed the right medication. Then I was finally in a good enough mood to start taking my health seriously. So I cut out the Diet Dr. Pepper and I started drinking water. And then slowly I started eating more protein, which these changes literally took years for me to do. During all of those changes, I simultaneously lost weight. I wasn't doing it on purpose until a couple months ago. I decided to take my weight loss a little bit more seriously. In my video, you can go back and watch it. It's still up and still getting tons of hate comments. Nowhere in that fucking video do I say every fat person should take responsibility and lose weight. The whole video was about me and my experience. Not one time did I make a generalization about fat people. Not one time did I degrade them or say anything mean or harass anyone. I literally talked about my journey. You know, it took a lot of courage to post that video because I knew exactly this would happen. When you talk about leaving communities, instead of being like, okay, bye, it was nice having you, they want to start bullying you. And what does that say about a community that just bullies everyone that leaves? I'm more of a libertarian than any of these fat liberation activists because I don't give a flying fuck about what anyone does with their body as long as they're not harming other people. You could go starve yourself. You could go eat 3 boxes of pizza. I don't care because it's not my life. I want everyone to have the best life that they can, but that's out of my control.
To lose weight, and everyone else should lose weight too. So like, as far as I'm concerned, she's dead now. I don't care what anyone does with their body. It's when people start dictating to others, especially fat people, what they should be doing with their bodies that I draw the line.
Again, nowhere in my fucking video did I say every fat person should lose weight. Everyone should do this. I ended the video with a very inspiring message, and all I said was, and you can do this too. You can do it if you want. I'm not saying you should. I'm not holding this up to your head telling you to do this. Because guess what? We're all adults here, and we can all do whatever we want, which includes me.
It's a reminder again about why, unless it's fat liberation, it doesn't mean shit.
And once again, I will say it. I do not care what you do with your body. I don't care about what you look like. I don't care if you're fat. I don't care if you're skinny. I don't care if you're mid-sized. You, me, and everyone else can do whatever the flying fuck they want. Of course, this person blocked me, so I couldn't see this video on my own. One of my mutuals just sent it to me. And I assume that's probably where all of the hate comments came from yesterday.
I don't think I have to say here with Angelica's response that, like, we are so totally just, like, on the same wavelength in terms of, like, all of this, because I think, I don't want to say recently, but I think maybe, like, last year, I started making it, like, abundantly clear in my videos because I was gaining more traction and getting more subscribers, which were over 80,000, guys. Insane. Anyways, that's like very close to 100. Anyways, so like last year when I started gaining more traction and I started seeing more people and more comments and stuff like that, I made it like abundantly clear that I do not give a shit what anybody else does with their body, and that I do not hate fat people because, first off, I am fat people, and as we're sitting here today, I am the most fat people I have been since I had weight loss surgery, okay? Like, in my weight loss journey, I am now sitting at the highest weight I've been since I was at my lowest, and we're doing things about it. Don't worry, I'm working on it. Because like Angelica, I feel like I'm kind of finally in a place where I can start taking it seriously again. I do have a knee injury, and I am nursing that back to health. So yeah, whatever. Anyways, I don't care. Like I don't care. Like I think this is where maybe me and, well, no, not maybe, me and some other creators like in this realm of the internet like very much disagree, and that's fine. Because I do not care. Like it has nothing to do with me what you choose to do with your body. And so like I just don't feel like you should get to tell me what to do with mine because you disagree with it and because you take offense from something that I'm choosing to do with my body. And I feel that way about everything. Okay. I don't think I really have to explain anymore because me and Angelica are very much on the same wavelength here in terms of all of this. And I really grown to love Angelica's content. Go follow her. I'll have everything linked down below. Because the way she approaches her weight loss is just super chill, and I love that. And like, if I ever started making weight loss content, which I don't know if I'm going to, I know I get a lot of requests about it now that people know that I'm like actively, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to do that. So I commend anybody who does, including Angelica, especially having been in the fat activism community publicly and then deciding to. Her and Rosie both. Love you all. And I really, really love how Angelica also talked about the mental aspect of being in the fat activism movement, and because of how much accountability they don't take for how much they can change about themselves, right? Like they can change the way they look, which means they can change for better or worse how they're treated in society, right? And is that shitty? Yes, I will say that's shitty. They can change these things, and they are in control of it. And like, but they tell you that you are not. And the mental mind fuck that gives you is like wild. I have a video from a couple years ago about like the psychological effects of being in the fat activism movement, and I think this is a topic that I talked on. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure this is one that I talked on because it's so true. Like the what they tell you and what is actually true, just they're a lot of it's a bunch of lies, and a lot of it's a bunch of just like an echo chamber that they make, and they just bounce the same ideas off of each other. And like, so it just perpetuates all these narratives, right? And I was in it myself. Angelica was in it herself. She's talking about it now. I've been talking about it. And so I just love the way Angelica approached all of this. I loved her response to the response. And I think I commend her so much for continuing to do what she's doing, regardless of the hate that she got, which the fact that she's getting hate for doing something to her body that literally affects nobody else says pretty much everything we need to know about what fat activism is now, right? Especially on TikTok. So I wanted to go in and look at this other creator. I don't know, one of their videos came up actually when I was looking for videos for this reaction, and I was like, oh shoot, I never talked about that whole thing. And so I went in and I went down a whole rabbit hole, but I found some other creators from them. And so I'm going to touch on some of these, and some of these are like from a few years ago, but from what I can see and from what happened with Angelica literally in June and July, not much has changed. So I feel confident putting these in here. And they have a whole playlist on their profile called Fat Phobia is Boring. And that's where I think the majority of these come from.
I don't know what came over me yesterday where I decided that I finally wanted to give my opinion on the term midsize. I'm going to give a little bit of some observations from yesterday, but let me say something first. I am not body positive, I am fat positive, and I support fat liberation. End of story. I say half of the folks commenting were just glad to hear that there actually was other language available to them that is rooted in fat liberation. The other half of commenters are straight-sized white women who seem to be just really invested in arguing that they face oppression in some way. The fat spectrum and fat liberation are about actual societal oppressions faced by fat people, not just the ways that you are made to feel about your body because we live in a fat-phobic society. Let me be clear, you can face personal hardships in your life and also still benefit from different types of privilege, just like when people talk about racism. And I'm just really curious about the white women in my comment sections who are putting so much energy into advocating for the word midsize instead of working against fat phobia.
So then they followed up with this.
I've had a few conversations with folks in comment sections about my feelings on the term midsize, and for some reason I have a bee in my bonnet, and so I'm gonna talk about it here. Long story short, when I hear midsize, I hear some undealt with fat phobia. I understand there's a need to want to be able to find other folks who share a similar experience to you based on what your body type or size is, but the thing is there's already language that exists to talk about the fatness of your body in ways that are linked to fat liberation. It's right here. It's the fatness spectrum. So small fat, mid fat, super fat, and infinifat. And each one of these categories inherently speaks to a type of experience based on what your body size is. So when someone says mid-size, all I can hear is that they are trying their best to distance themselves from fatness. And whether or not in terms of your size, you're in straight sizes or plus sizes, this purposeful attempt to distance yourself from fatness is fatphobic. I've had a few conversations.
Okay, so I've actually thought about making a whole video on fat activism's war on the word midsize because it was such a topic for such a long time, and I've never understood the vitriol, even after watching this, like, it all laid out here. I've never understood it, and because I think the term midsize is very similar to how people, specifically women, reacted when, like, Tess Holliday came on the scene back in, like, the early 2010s, right? And that was because, and they reacted so strongly and so positively because at that time we were coming out of, like, very heroin chic, thin as in, that kind of thing. And that was what was trending. And so it was like, we are not seeing ourselves represented in media at all. And then so Tess Holliday comes on the scene, starts gaining mainstream traction, and we're like, this is fucking great, like, this is more representation of what we need. And so I think when midsize came on the scene, like, a couple years ago, I think it was a very similar thing, just from what I remember, because I think at that point we had, like, fitness girly, Pilates girly, like, only green smoothies all the time, no processed foods, goes to spin class 10 times a week, like, all of that on TikTok. And then we had fat activism and we had body positivity over here. And so a lot of people felt like there wasn't a place for them to belong. And so midsize became a thing. And I also think that the timing of this was really interesting because I remember the term midsize really gaining traction during lockdown. And so a lot of people, I think, were turning to the internet to find community. And honestly, I attribute a lot of the success of my channel to that. Well, one, getting a shout out from Obese to Beast and all of that. That was what really put me in the spotlight. But then I think I think people just wanted a community. And so, like, I think that was where the term midsize came from, because a community in itself, kind of like body positivity and whatever, formed surrounding the, like, mid-size girls, which means that you're not, like, plus size, but you're not, like, an extra small. You're, like, and you're not even, like, a medium sometimes. Like, you're, like, an extra large. It just made people feel included, and it brought people together who had the same experiences going shopping and stuff like that, which for women in particular and femme-presenting people in particular, I think having people who are, like, in the same sort of, like, shaped body as you, no matter what end of the spectrum you're on, like, or no matter where on the body size spectrum you fall on, if you have people around you to commiserate with, that's, like, cathartic, right? And so I think that's where midsize came from. I don't think midsize came from fat phobia or wanting to distance yourself from fatness at all, because I think fat activism and fat liberation on TikTok in particular, because that's where I saw a lot of the use of the term midsize. I think a lot of the discourse in terms of fat liberation and all of that, it and I talk about this a lot, it creates an us versus them, right? And so it's like, if I'm not you, then where do I stand in this? Like, and where do I go to find community, right? If you want me to be on your side, but you still don't see me as oppressed as you, and, like, you say, I never understand what you're going through, so, like, how am I supposed to find community here? And so I think that's where, like, the whole community surrounding midsize came from. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on the term midsize. I feel like I could make a more well thought out scripted video on that. That was completely off the cuff. I've just always thought that it's really interesting, again, how fat activists love to police the use of the term midsize. And when a lot of people, I feel, maybe in the whole midsize community on TikTok and online, don't even know that the fat activism, fat liberation side of the internet exists. They bring up the fatness spectrum or whatever, which I was looking at that, and the small fat says 18 and below. So, like, where does that below end? Maybe that's why the term midsize came about. Anyways, they bring this up like it's something that everybody knows about, and it's not. Like, so I've started dating again a little bit, right? And obviously my channel comes up sometimes and people are like, what do you talk about? And I'm like, oh God, because I've realized like how much of a niche thing this is to talk about. And I feel like when you're in it all the time, you forget that. And so like you have to explain it respectfully to people. And that goes for everybody, including fat activism. If you want people on your side, you cannot be condescending about your message. You just can't. Like marketing 101. I don't know. Yeah. So I've always thought this whole like debate on the term mid-size was really interesting. And if that is a whole video that you'd want me to like lay out and kind of go into the nitty gritty on, I would love to do it because I think it's really interesting. But yeah, so then as I was scrolling through more of their content, I found this gem also, which is just, again, funny and hypocritical.
Decided that I'm going to actively assume that every thin person is fat phobic until proven otherwise. I feel really safe in making this assumption based off of 29 years of lived experience. I've also decided that like I will not be fostering relationships with skinny people until they have done something to demonstrate that they are in fact an ally to fat people. I will not be accepting questions at this time.
Okay, so like I understand that sentiment because like I do the same thing in regards to who I want in my life. Like if you don't support like my rights as a woman or my rights as a queer woman, like I get it. I get it. Very weird to me. That's very weird generalized thinking to me. And so like I would flip it and be like, so you're going to make that assumption about thin people. So like, can I assume that like fat people are all lazy and all eat like shit all the time and like don't care about their health? Because a lot of people do make that assumption. I don't make that assumption, but a lot of people do. And then you talk shit on that, which I think is valid, but you're doing the same thing here. And so I just thought this was really interesting and I want to talk about it. And that's all I have to say about this one. And yeah, I've been talking for 35 minutes, so I'm going to go. Let me know what you think down below. Leave a purple heart emoji down below if you made it this far. Go follow Angelica. She's great. I love her content. On the damn recording this, which is September 15th, I believe she just got engaged. So congratulations, girly pop. I'm so happy for you. That's all I have to say about everything today. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.